Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm going to talk about The Division closed beta. If you were lucky enough to get into the closed beta or you pre-ordered the game, then you got to sample it by now, try it out, see how you like it, and I want to talk about my impressions of it initially and some of my issues with it and potential speculation for the final release. Now first up, I want to say that I actually really enjoyed everything that I played of The Division so far. The single player is quite fun, the graphics are very good, it's extremely easy to play with friends. The beta includes one main story mission and a bunch of side quests, plus some random encounters from time to time, and you get to play in two different zones of the Dark Zone, which has its own set of encounters. The production quality in this game is excellent. It's got fully rendered cutscenes in the beginning to establish the story. Downtown New York is beautifully rendered. The graphics are incredible. Still not quite as good as the original E3 trailer, but impressive nonetheless. And it was great to be able to play this at home on my own PC where I can play around with the graphic settings on my own terms. And there's plenty of graphic settings to tweak. Also, the user interface and menu and controls are highly customizable as well, which is nice. Ubisoft has gone through a lot of lengths to try and avoid the term PC port because they want this game to feel like it was made natively for PC. The only thing they really have going against them is the cover system that is so hardwired into the game. You hit spacebar and it locks you onto cover nearby in the environment. You right click and your player aims over that cover, you let go right click and you duck back into cover. This is a mechanic that I feel most PC players don't really need. We're all very adept with controlling our characters. A duck button works just fine, and I feel like getting rid of the cover mechanic and giving me a duck key would honestly be something that I would prefer, because there's a lot of situations where my character would get stuck on cover. I'd be in a firefight and I really didn't want to be in the location I was in, and you'd hit a button and it would like stick you on another piece of cover rather than getting you off the cover, and then there's like a weird vault mechanic that ties into it as well. I personally would just prefer to have 100% control over my character rather than a cover system. And that is one of the only things that really makes this game feel like it's still kind of natively designed for a console. Now the beta itself is very brief. You can run through the highly detailed missions in no time at all. They're a lot of fun to play through. I like the story, I like the writing of it all. The environments are very immersive and cool. It starts to snow at different times. You'll see like stray dogs running around the city and they'll be covered in snow if it's actually snowing. There's a lot of really cool attention to detail, and then it all ends way before you're ready for it to end. Now granted, this is a beta and it is just a small snippet of what we're supposed to get for the final release, but at the same time I can't help but feel, I got a suspicious feeling that there really isn't going to be all that much content in the final release, especially based on the overall map size of Manhattan. It just doesn't look like we're possibly going to be able to fit that much mission content into this whole game world. So I'm a little bit worried about the overall content that's going to be offered in the game. There's no question about the quality of the content, it's more of an issue about the quantity. In games like this, which have this sort of massively multiplayer online aspect to them, really rely a lot on the end game and how much you're going to be able to do, and at the moment I am a little bit concerned. And of course my opinions are influenced by a lot of other games that have come out recently that have been a bit underwhelming with content, so I could just be projecting those fears from those games onto this one, but again, I have a pretty strong feeling about this. Alright, so I love the storyline, I love the PvE format of the game. The missions are immersive, they're engaging, you can play by yourself or you can play with friends very easily. Let's talk about the Dark Zone, the area where you can, if you choose to, fight other players. Now this area of the game is very cool and I feel necessary, so rather than turning the entire area of Manhattan into a full-on PvP zone where people are just going around murking each other all the time, changing up the entire mentality of the game, the Dark Zone is where you can go to actually fight higher level NPC characters, just AI bots, but there will also be other characters fighting them as well. And if you choose, you can engage those characters and kill them and take the loot that they have on them that they acquired while they're in the Dark Zone during that session. So there is an element of risk and reward involved here, and you can practice out your own PvP skills as you want. Now you can be in a party of up to 4 players, and if one player in that party engages a non-hostile threat, every member of that party then becomes a rogue agent, and they get marked for everyone in the Dark Zone as basically a target that will be killing other players, and you can feel free to engage a rogue agent without suffering any sort of penalties of becoming a rogue agent yourself. So once you start killing somebody unprovoked, you mark yourself and everything gets very dangerous very quickly. Now, if you become a rogue agent and are killed in the Dark Zone, you'll actually lose quite a lot of Dark Zone experience and Dark Zone credits. And these are things that you don't want to lose because you can use it to buy some of the best weapons in the game. Dark Zone has all the good gear. Getting a higher rank in the Dark Zone is very important, so it's very risky to go rogue. Now, in a way, it does recreate that sort of every man for himself mentality within the world of The Division, which is a cool thing, but there are some problems with the PvP aspect of the game, and I'll get into that right now. The main problem with the system is that the punishments for engaging a non-hostile player are extreme. Sure, it's less incentive to go around and be an asshole in the game, but at the same time, this is supposed to be the PvP world where you do go around and engage other players. The problem with this aspect of the game is that once you engage an enemy player and kill them, you will be marked as a rogue agent for at least 1 minute. I believe every other player that you kill can actually up your time by a minute or even further. And in fact, when you're shooting your weapon towards other enemy players when you're marked as a rogue agent, your time limit for being marked as a rogue agent will go up to almost 300 seconds, which is an incredible amount of time. Now, when you're marked as a rogue agent, you will have a big red skull over your head that every player in the game can see on their mini-map, and when they get anywhere close to you, I'm talking like 200 to 300 meters away, they can see you through walls, so they can track your every movement. So it puts you at a huge disadvantage for trying to stay stealthy or get away from other players. So once you're marked, it's basically a big red flag over your head saying, hey, come kill me. I'm right here. You can see me the entire time I am marked. Now, this would be something easier to deal with if your rogue agent status didn't increase every time you have to return fire at somebody engaging you. So once you kill another player, chances are other players are going to come and try and kill you to kill the rogue agent because you actually get a good bounty reward for killing rogue agents. Now, if those players engage you and you return fire, your time limit as a rogue agent just goes up. You can maximize it at those 300 seconds, and then your chances of ever getting out of rogue agent mode go down. We got into firefights where it was lasting 15 plus minutes because we would kill players and they would have enough time to respawn and run back at us and basically just increase our rogue agent's time limit all the way to the top. So the only way to get out of rogue agent is to just run around the map as fast as possible, not engaging other players, and if they engage you, you just have to run and not return fire. There's nothing you can do. So it's a pretty weird and awful system, especially considering you can't go through checkpoints or safe houses as long as you're marked as a rogue agent. So as the way it stands right now, you're pretty much screwed if you want to be a player who wants to go around and engage in PvP activities that are unprovoked. Now, I feel the system could be mostly fixed with one small change. As it stands right now, if an enemy player engages you while you're marked as a rogue agent, you increase your time limit if you return fire trying to defend yourself against that player. So you just basically decrease your chances of ever getting out of a rogue agent situation if you get into another firefight, even if you didn't provoke that firefight. My proposal for changing the system and fixing it is that if somebody fires on you first, even if you're marked as a rogue agent, your time limit shouldn't go up when you're returning fire. Maybe it could pause in terms of it ticking down, but it shouldn't increase as long as the enemy player who's attacking you fired on you first. Other than that, I do like the concept of the Dark Zone. It's just once you get a bunch of organized players in there, if you have two organized squads in the Dark Zone who want to engage in PvP, it doesn't make sense to be the people who engage first. It only makes sense to try and bait the other players into engaging, because then you're at a huge advantage, whereas if you die, you'll know exactly where they are when you respawn, and you can continuously re-engage them and force them to be marked indefinitely as rogue agents. There's also a couple issues of spawn camping some of the checkpoint entrances in the Dark Zone and other funky stuff like that, but I really do think that the rogue agent status is probably one of the biggest problems, because it is just way too big of a deterrent to actually wanting to fight other players. I mean, it's a first-person shooter with the option for PvP. You shouldn't be slapped around the game for deciding to PvP. Anyway, I'm still quite excited for the game to come out. I love the gear that's in the game and getting rare M4s and rare ACRs and higher level stuff with cool modifications and really customizing your character around certain playstyles. I love that element of the game so far. It's a lot of fun. The story is great. The graphics are great. Very engaging overall. Ultimately, I'm still concerned about the content, the quantity of content, not the quality, and also the PvP element of the game. The Dark Zone is very cool. It just needs a little bit of tweaking so that there aren't sort of broken aspects to it. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to check out the beta for yourself if you're interested, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.